Great soundtrack, by the way. It is Don or okay. Nero's theme is absolutely fantastic. His battle music, and same for Virgil's. In Bloody Palace, you battle against waves of deadly foes, clearing as many stages as you can before time runs out. The more stylish the combat, the more time you extend the time limit. The more you extend the time limit. Okay. You know, one thing I do wish they did, because this came out in 2019, I wish in 2021, when it was the series' 20th anniversary, I think one thing that they could have done would have been to make, Dante's previous outfits for the game. It's like updated versions of those. And I like obviously I know there are mods out there that you can do, but as someone who plays on console pretty strictly, you know, it would have been cool if they did it officially. You piece of garbage.
Outrun this. Lock on.
Okay, damn, he did not care about that at all.
Rev it up. Outrun this.
Got him not on sword.
Rev it up. Rev it up. Rev it up. Rev it up.
The the bike weapon is absolutely just ridiculous and so much fun. I even, like I said, enjoy the gauntlets to an extent in this game. No, and I hope that we are close to seeing what is next in store for this series. Maybe the Game Awards will get something, right? That's not too far off. And pretty sure I said it in the previous recording, but there's a lot of big anniversaries in 2026, whether it's what Pokemon's gonna turn 30, Xbox is just as a console, as a brand, will be 30 years old, or 25 years old, which, I mean, let's just be honest, Xbox is kind of in the gutter as a brand right now with the recent price hikes and everything. What else? But that also includes Halo. Okay, that was just pitifully easy. You have Halo, Devil May Cry, obviously. I think Max Payne. Pretty sure the first Max Payne came out in 2001. Oh, Jesus. I think one thing I'm having a hard time is it doesn't feel like there's a weapon that's quite the best at ad clear. Nope. Shoot. Right into it. I guess we just probably let that restore health. That was rough. Red orb bonus. Clear certain stages in the Bloody Palace to receive bonus red orbs. The more time remaining on the timer, the more orbs you can obtain. Take down enemies with style to rack up additional time. Yeah, I think that's one thing I think that throws me off. I don't feel like there's like a super good there's nothing like super good for ad clear. Or like let me rephrase this. It doesn't feel like there's anything that's like really good for hitting multiple enemies at one time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be, I view it purely as just like a decision from the devs to not want to have something that is just too good at that. Maybe that's more of the point of your DT. Really scraping by. And maybe that was more of the focus with Double Trigger and Sin Double Trigger. It's just like, I really miss having something like the Scythe or the dual blade thing.
Rev it up! Rev it up!
I would say in general, this game, I think like something about the reboot I think is that I was aiming for easier accessibility and like easier to understand controls, if anything. Where I feel like DMC in general has it's it's not by any means like way too complicated or anything, but I feel that it's more technical to really get some of the good combos going and certain like there's a lot more depth there I would say the than the than the reboot game. For like, it's something I could just say for me personally. I just get kind of like a high from crowd control stuff. It's why in like something like I can't think of his name right now. Killing Zone or Killing Floor, not Killing Zone, Killing Floor 2. I enjoy like the Demolitionist and the oh, you gotta hold it for a while. Okay. Just as it ended. I wasn't sure if it would like automatically end for you if you can let it go early. I imagine it still does damage, just you know. That might not have been the smartest decision given my health. Oh goody, one of you.
Outrun this.
Why? There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and just activate this to get what health I can out of it. One could argue I should at least use it in combat, but I'm also just worried that I'm gonna take hit during combat anyway, and I'll just, play a little dumb with it. So.
Outrun this. Lock on. Rev it up. Rev it up.
You piece of garbage. Oh, there's three of you. When was there three of you? Well, at least I timed out instead of dying. I think 16's respectable. Let's say great, but you know. It's I think that is it, though. I don't really have much else to say. I guess retrospective on the series in general, playing it, because I'm pretty sure it started at the beginning of this year. I'm trying to remember if maybe I started late last year. But it's honestly, it's been a blast, and like when I look back, DMC as a series was not a series I grew up with, right? I was not aware of its existence till really the early 2010s, probably. And that was mainly, as I've said before, with the reboot, which I didn't even know was a reboot right away. I don't know how much the YouTuber I watched, SSOHPKC, how much he talked about it. If that was a reboot or the started the series beforehand. Like, I guess I probably got like notions it was a reboot or something, but I really did not know anything about the original series, right? So to have now played the whole series, it's really cool. Having gone back and, you know, having dealt with a bit of frustration with the first game and third game to some degree. You know, they made me get good though, that's for sure. I've always said that, like, or I think playing Silksong recently has made me kind of realize or understand, like, when a game is a good challenging or a bad challenging, a BS challenging. That like AR weapon there in the bottom right on the chair. Because for every player, challenge will be different. What you deem or feel is manageable and acceptable is going to vary beyond from player to player. And I felt that like Silksong challenge is a little more asking a little more than I think is manageable or fair. Or most players from a casual point of view. I know for hardcore fans, they'll probably be fine, but for more casual people and someone like myself, it was always that game was asking a lot. And when I think to DMC3, that game is tough for sure. Let's see this jukebox. I also think it helps that the game doesn't really have like runbacks or anything like that. It is purely just I'm gonna retry this boss fight, and I can immediately. Oh, you can like assign it? That's cool. Seeing them have music from previous games in here is really cool. Oh boy. Oh, let's do it. Wait, is this only like we only get to hear like little snippets of it? I mean, I don't know what's the change there. And that's my voice look in variations I play randomly for the character voice. But it'd be nice to have an example so I understand exactly. All the cutscenes. That's cool. Yeah, as I said, like, as I was saying, I think there's something really cool about playing through a whole series in a relatively short amount of time. In this case, like, we're talking about a span of a year, roughly, which, for 6 games, consider, like, enough. You know, little breaks in there is nice, but again, I wish I got to this a little sooner. I might have been a little more into it, but there was a bit of just that outside factor of I want to get this done because there's other projects I want to get to for this spooky month, and sometimes I can be really focused on like one thing, like one project or one whatever it is, and just sit down and focus on that one thing, right? And it's hard. It can be hard for me to want to deviate to anything else in that time. So for me, it was I just wanted to focus on this. And I guess I hate like one thing I dislike is like having to change out my capture cards a lot because depending on what I'm playing, I will use different capture cards. So if I'm playing my really classic stuff, I will just use the Elgato HD. If I'm playing something that's HDMI, but not the most recent consoles, I will use the HD60S. And if I'm playing the absolute newest, the Series X or my PS5, probably the Switch 2, I will use the HD60X. Oh, this is a cool Lord mix with this. But getting to see the evolution of a series in a relatively short time, seeing the ups and downs of a series, I think is always really fun. And I still stand by what I said. DMC2 is not, it does not belong, in my opinion, on like a worst game of all times list. It's bad, it's not great, but I feel like I've talked about this ad nauseum, I think, in my DMC2 playthrough, so I don't want to reiterate too much here, but I don't feel it deserves to be, or it doesn't, I don't feel it deserves to be on a worst games of all time list. I think there's enough quality aspects to it, enough good things here and there that I feel should keep it off a list like that. I feel there are way worse games out there that are way more buggy or way more incoherent than that game, that have way less depth or things to mess around with, you know? I don't remember having any technical problems with DMC2, and there's still like new weapons to get and upgrades to do, new firearms stuff, so. And you have 2 different characters to play as, so. Yeah, it would be hard for me to rank this series because if we were just talking gameplay, well, yeah, the reboot game might be at the top of my list for me, just because again, I vibe with it. It just flows the best for me when I'm playing. It feels so natural. Or I feel like this in DMC3, there's always a bit of like, okay, making sure I'm on the right weapon and then only kind of wanting to stick to that weapon. I feel, to me, it feels a little more daunting to want to switch it up mid combo, if that makes sense, right? And even though they use like the triggers as a way to swap weapons, it's not quite the same because obviously in the reboot game, you hold down the triggers to keep the weapon equipped, and that flows in if you do like a YY and then do that pause and then switch. You can continue that combo or finish like whatever that combo is for the weapon you switch to continues, and that's really cool. I don't know if it works the same in here. It might be a little more tricky, especially if you're trying to like quickly pass down a few weapons. And that applies to Dante in particular. One thing I was trying to figure out was if on Nero, if you again use his double trigger outside of, like, now that I've beaten the game stuff, if you can actually use his double trigger if you go replay mission or something. So let's just I'm pretty sure this is a Nero mission. Yeah. So we go hit customize. We're gonna figure this out right now. Devil Ringer. We get the devil. We get this. When Devil Trigger is active. Well, it literally says Devil Trigger, so. Always nice to have that. Wait, what? Channel the power from your body into the blue arrows to fire powerful shots that send foes flying. Hold X while attacking to build a charge. Press and hold X and release after your left arm. I'm confused. What? Okay. Weird seeing him have both his hands.
Use the wire hook to your advantage, unless you want to stretch your arm out.
That's pretty cool. How does one activate DT with him, though? Is it on the D-pad? It is on the D-pad. Which is funny because I think I actually put D-pad or Devil Trigger on the D-pad for the reboot game. Okay, now that question's been answered. So it gives some extra, little bit of extra incentive to replay, as him at least, getting to use his Devil Trigger form now and such. Again, I would say Dante is still my favorite to play in this game just because of having different weapons and guns to switch out throughout. He also just probably has the most depth in his kit, I would say, overall, with the Devil Trigger and the Sin Devil Trigger. Ooh. Again, I enjoyed V enough. I think it helps that since you don't play as him a whole lot, his combat never became too stale, I guess. It never became too boring for me. Oh, look. So I guess depending on, like, if you choose main menu, depending from what mission you get, like, these different things. It's a little awkward trying to do some of the combos when, like, it's a character you're watching doing them and not you directly. It's weird. Oh, yeah, I thought V was fun enough. And then Nero, like, I still enjoyed playing him, don't get me wrong. But I think just the lack of, like, and I think, okay, the Devil Breakers help because it was kind of the variety, like lacking variety thing, I think that made Nero kind of the least fun to play for in 4. Just kind of being stuck with just the sword and just the blue rose and I forget the name of the sword, or if that's the gun, whatever. Being stuck with those two things in particular, but you also had the grab. But being stuck with those, I think, is kind of what made Nero the least fun to play, in my opinion. In 4. I mean, granted, in 4, you only have the 2 choices, unless you're playing Special Edition, which has extra stuff. But between Dante and Nero in 4, I would say that's why Nero's less fun to play. It's just the lack of variety in his move kit. Having the Devil Breakers definitely helps increase the amount of options and definitely brought some fun. I probably wish I used them more, tried them out a little more. Gerba, whatever that one was. kind of was my favorite to just bounce around the way I was, but I would say there was others in there I definitely enjoyed using. Trying to think of anything else. I'm almost at 3 hours and 10 minutes. Yeah, like I said too, if we are getting a remaster game, remake, whatever it's gonna be, I assume probably a remake of the first game in next year, I will probably get to that pretty quick. I think it's one of those things where it's like, because I would imagine that would probably come out closer to the end of the year, maybe not, but I feel like I would have had enough of a break and I would want to stay kind of on top of the series as it were. So I would probably get to that somewhat quick. I wouldn't let it sit for too long. But yeah, for now that's the end of the series. It is cool to say now I'm a Devil May Cry fan and that I understand what makes the series special. At least I feel I do. And just having the experience to be able to talk about these games now, right? And kind of just knowing what I was missing out on. And I really do wish as a kid I would have got to play some of these games, but I was sadly to some extent more of a Nintendo and Xbox kid. And I had tons of fun on those platforms as well, but it is one of those things like if there was maybe one series I could have chose, well, I guess more than one, because I also I would say probably well, like this and Ratchet and Clank are probably like kind of the two I wish I got to experience more as a kid. And at some point I will get to Ratchet and Clank. That was on that voting list. I'm probably gonna focus on a few different things. I got Halloween projects, and I've been thinking with all the anniversaries coming up next year, I might want to focus on like some of those games having their anniversaries, whether it's a game or a series. Because like Max Payne, for example, I think it would be kind of fun to play both Max Payne games next year. And I might do Tasmanian Tiger next, as that would be more. It'd be easier to tackle since it's not as many games, since it's only 3 instead of, I think it's what I would be doing would be 6 for Ratchet and Clank. Because yeah, there's no way I'm tackling all the games. I don't really have the means to, at least in a way I'd be happy with. I think you can stream some of them on the PlayStation Now thing or whatever, but I don't have I wouldn't really be satisfied with that. So for me, it's playing the 4 that I have on the PS2 that are available. Or sorry, no, it's 6 on the PS2. It's 8 games in total, right? It's 6 on the PS2, 4 mainline, and then there's 2 PSP, PS Vita games or whatever that were put on the PS2. And then I have the 2016 remake game of the first, and I have the most recent game. I forget the name of it off the top of my head right now. Yeah, that is kind of where the plan is. That I will get to Ratchet and Clank soon enough. I would say probably 2027 at the latest, because that would be the 25th anniversary for that series, and maybe we'll see if they have anything planned for the series by then. I would kind of hope so, but I know Insomniac, I believe, has been. Are they the ones doing the Wolverine game? I can't remember, but hopefully that's been maybe that's something they've been working on in the background as the next Ratchet and Clank games. I know there was like that leaked report some time ago about that game being like around 2028, 2029, more closer to the end of the decade, but who knows? Maybe we will see it in 2027 for the 25th anniversary of that series, because I'm pretty sure the first came out in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, I'm blabbering. It's just kind of fun to ramble through my head. I know this isn't going to go up for quite some time, because there's going to be like 30, 40 parts before this is up. Yeah, that is, and I guess I'll apologize too if the sound is off for the first number of episodes, just due to me not knowing the audio fix for recording on HD60X. My apologies, and I will say too, because I streamed that first kind of session. So apologies if in the top left corner, if the little icons up there bug you. I think you can move that around the screen. Maybe I should put it on the bottom right so my avatar was covering it. Maybe that's something I could have done, but I figured since I already have an avatar on screen, the VTuber model, it wouldn't be a big issue. And it's transparent, doesn't cover up a whole lot, the little icon thing for when you're streaming on Xbox. So, and as far as I know, you can't turn it up, but that is something I may try more. Obviously, I don't record as much on the newer consoles because I generally like to stick to older stuff. And in case I'm doing a long-running series like this, then yeah, I'll probably there's probably going to be an entry or two that I'm going to have to do on this. And I'm, I found out I can't stream and record at the same time without too much of a performance impact on my HD60X, but I might check that out on if the HD60S or the HD, if that maybe will work better, if it just might be not as resource intensive. It's hard for me to know. I'm not a technical guy here. I will just probably mess around with it to see if it's laggy or not. Because at least with the PS5 and the Series X, I can just record them directly from or stream directly from the console. So it's a weird way to go about it, and I will probably look at a solution for being able to actually have a microphone set up and then having the actual headset on so I could talk. But that is for another time, and I don't really know when, if that will happen. Anyway, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a blast, and I will see you with some Halloween stuff real soon. And it'll probably, those are probably going to go up before this is over, because it wouldn't really make sense to wait for this to be fully uploaded, because that would be well into November, possibly December, depending on how long this playthrough is and when I start uploading. But I will see you guys for some Halloween stuff real soon. Bye-bye. I almost forgot. I gotta do the thank yous. Thank you to Ghost Cabbit they are the maker of this model. Thank you to SnowHusky who did VR work, and thank you to Antifreeze who's done the thumbnails for me. Can't forget them. So sorry, I've been rambling on for so long. My mind is just lost at this point. And look at that, it darkened. If you're curious on what the day it is, it's October 5th, 2025. It's about 7 p.m. for me. Since I usually like to say what the date is, so you guys know when this stuff was recorded and how much later it goes up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, ciao for now, bye!